Tonight, the future of Fulton County's prosecution of former President Donald Trump rests in the hands of Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee. He'll have to decide whether or not to disqualify District Attorney Fani Willis and her team from the Georgia election interference case. We have team coverage for you tonight from inside and outside the courtroom, starting with 11 Alive's Grace King. And Grace, these arguments wrapped up just moments ago, so walk us through what's at stake here.
Well, the argument for disqualification comes from one of two places, either conflict of interest or forensic misconduct. And today, the defense made the arguments for both. They say DA Willis began dating Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade before he was awarded that Fulton County contract worth hundreds of thousands of dollars for this case, and that it was all part of a scheme to financially benefit from this case because of the vacations, dinners, and excursions Willis and Wade shared together. Then they argued Willis's comments made outside of the courtroom are improper, specifically those she made during a church speech on Martin Luther King weekend.
It was videoed. It was clear that Ms. Willis had notes. She was reading from notes that she had prepared. It was a calculated determination by Ms. Willis to prejudice the defendants and their counsel.
What we have is a systematic, continuous pattern, a calculated plan, evidencing a design to prejudice the defendants in this case in the minds of the jurors.
Now, before these evidentiary hearings began, Judge Scott McAfee hinted that even the appearance of a conflict could be grounds for disqualification. The state spent the first part of their arguments today, the first half rather, arguing against that notion, saying it must be an actual conflict of interest, not some speculation or unproven facts. Then they walked through all the witnesses that we've heard from, explaining to the judge why he should or shouldn't consider their testimony credible, and then they walk through the timeline of that Willis-Wade relationship that they say should be believed.
It's ridiculous. It's absurd, and it's desperate. It's a desperate attempt to remove a prosecutor from a case for absolutely no reason, Your Honor, other than harassment and embarrassment.
And Judge Scott McAfee said there are still a few outstanding legal questions that he wants to look into before making a decision, but that he hopes to have some answers and clarity within the next 2 weeks.
Right. Grace, thank you so much. Our Joe Ripley spoke with a legal expert about what today's hearing could mean in the long run. He's joining us live from outside the Fulton County Courthouse as well with that perspective. Joe?
Good evening, Jennifer. We spoke earlier with former DeKalb County District Attorney Robert James. He says the defense was looking for a kill shot, something that could significantly delay this case or end it altogether. James is not affiliated with this particular case, but he says Judge Scott McAfee is looking specifically for evidence of financial gain in this hearing, that conflict of interest you heard Grace allude to. James says the judge is also weighing the credibility of the witnesses throughout the last month. He expected the defense to come out aggressively today. At one point, they noted what they believe were 6 potential conflicts of interest. James says whatever the judge decides in this hearing, the appearance of a conflict of interest could play a prominent role in the court of public opinion.
Well, there's a case and then there's a public opinion. And look, whenever you engage in public integrity of prosecution, you have to deal with the public's opinion. This is not a drug deal, right, where the public's never going to know about it. This is a public figure that's being prosecuted, multiple public figures, and people have an opinion. Well, ultimately, those people end up on a jury.
And James says it could take weeks to get a decision in this hearing. And a final reminder of what's at stake in all this, well, that is alleged interference into the 2020 election. The case built around that. We'll see if this proceeds and if Fani Willis and Nathan Wade have a role in this case.
All right.